Have you ever found yourself in a place where nothing sparks your passion anymore? No comforting words can reach you. Everything you once believed in, strove for, lived for, has silently collapsed. No one out there really understands you. No one sees the cracks spreading deep within your soul, and you don't even want to explain it to anyone. You don't know who you are anymore. You've lost your drive. You've lost your light. All that remains is a darkness, thick, endless, and absolute. But what if I told you? You are not lost. You're exactly where your soul needs to be. This isn't depression. It's not failure. It's not a sign that you're broken. It's a sacred summons, a journey that ancient mystics called the dark night of the soul. A place where the old self is shattered, where your buried spirit begins to awaken, where you must let go of every illusion so you can be reborn. Awake, raw, truly alive. If you're reading this now, you don't have to get through the emptiness. You simply need to lean into it knowing this is not the end. It's the first sentence of a brand new chapter for your soul. Welcome to the dark night of the soul. There's a concept that's been around for centuries in Western mysticism, the dark night of the soul. But don't let the name fool you. This isn't ordinary darkness, a passing sadness or a temporary crisis. It's a profound, sacred upheaval, where every counterfeit layer is stripped away, revealing the raw emptiness from which a new self can be born. The phrase was first recorded by Saint John of the Cross, a 16th century Spanish mystic. In his famous poem of the same name, John describes how the soul loses every trace of light, every sense of God's presence, every comforting belief or direction. Prayer offers no solace. The divine feels utterly absent. All that remains is a loneliness deeper than any you've known. Yet those who have journeyed through it share a common testimony. When there's nothing left to cling to, the only thing you have left is your true self. The dark night of the soul doesn't come to destroy you. It arrives to take away everything you no longer need: false beliefs, old identities, social masks, even your idea of spirituality. Because for the soul to emerge into light, the ego must dissolve, not through struggle, but through complete surrender. Across every mystical tradition, one truth repeats at every stage of awakening. To rise, you must first descend. To open, you must first contract. To be reborn, you must first die. The dark night of the soul is the symbolic death phase. It comes without warning. It has no timetable. It's different for everyone. For some, it feels like a hollow emptiness at the height of material comfort. For others, it's the shock of losing a loved one, a career, or a lifelong purpose all at once. Some encounter it at the peak of success. Others after years of disciplined meditation and prayer, because this is not failure. This is a summons, a call from your soul that says, you're ready to face yourself. Many fear the dark night. They fear the silence. They fear the void. They fear losing everything. But in the ancient view, the dark night isn't the end. It's the womb of rebirth. You are not lost. You are being transformed. And if you find yourself there right now, if each day feels like crawling over broken glass and you can't see a way out, know this: you are not alone. Thousands of souls have walked this path. Saints and mystics and ordinary people just like you, and they didn't pass through to merely survive. They passed through to return as a new self, more radiant, more authentic, more alive than ever. Because sometimes light doesn't arrive by driving out darkness. It comes when you learn to stay with the darkness until you no longer fear it. Differentiating the dark night of the soul from ordinary depression, burnout, or discouragement isn't an exact science. There's no lab test or checklist you can scan. But if you're feeling called toward an inner transformation rather than simply stuck here, are some of the most telling markers that you may be in a dark night, rather than just exhaustion or sadness. 1. It's existential, not situational. Depression or burnout usually trace back to a job stress and illness, grief, or life circumstances you can point to. The dark night tends to feel like an erasure of meaning itself. Your life circumstances may be perfectly fine or even enviable, yet you feel a void that nothing external seems able to fill. 2. You're stripping away, not seeking distraction. In ordinary malaise, the ego still craves relief. You might binge-watch, shop, or work harder to feel better. In the dark night, you often sense that all distractions are ultimately hollow. You're painfully aware that nothing superficial will heal you. You're being invited to go deeper instead. 3. Your beliefs literally collapse. Depression can include negative thinking. I'm worthless. Nothing will ever change. but often those thoughts still revolve around your identity and circumstances. In a dark night, even your most sacred beliefs, spiritual practices, philosophies, identities, seem inadequate. You experience a genuine crisis of faith, not because you're disillusioned, but because you're being emptied of all inner supports so that something new can arise. 4. You feel both dead and alive at once. Burnout or exhaustion tends to look like sheer fatigue. You want a nap, a vacation, a break. The dark night often brings waves of energy and despair, simultaneously moments of numbness, punctuated by visceral, raw emotional surges. You aren't just tired, your very sense of self is dissolving and reforming. 5. A strange inner yes, amid the suffering. With clinical depression, there can be a sense of helplessness, even a wish not to wake up. In the dark night. Despite the pain and emptiness, there's often a subtle inner knowing that this is necessary. You might even feel an odd gratitude for the breakdown, because you sense it's leading toward a truer, fuller life. 6. Surrender becomes the only option. If you're merely burned out, you look for solutions. Therapy, medication, time off, a new routine. You're still in fix-it mode. In the dark night, you reach a point where all your usual coping strategies fail. You no longer fight the emptiness, you let it be. That radical surrender is actually the crucible for inner rebirth. A word of caution. Psychological depression is serious. If you're experiencing persistent thoughts of harming yourself, or if your ability to function is severely impaired, please reach out for professional help immediately. But if you recognize yourself in these deeper transpersonal markers, an existential void not eased by distraction, a collapse of meaning, and an almost paradoxical yes to the process, then chances are you're not just depressed. You're being invited through your own soul's dark night. And although it can feel like the end of everything, it's really the passage through which a renewed, more authentic self is born. Here's a polished, native-sounding version for an American audience. Here's the crucial question. Painful, yet it opens the door to profound freedom. Why does your soul allow you to fall into darkness? Why not lead you toward light, joy, love, and inspiration? Why loss, chaos, emptiness, and collapse? The answer, though it may give you pause, is a core spiritual truth found in every mystical tradition. Your soul doesn't choose comfort. Your soul chooses truth, and truth often hides in the shadows. Since ancient times, genuine seekers, mystics, meditators, awakened souls have known this. The light you glimpse at the summit is never as pure as the light you discover at the bottom of the abyss, because that light isn't something you chase. It's something you become, once you have nothing left to lose. Darkness is where everything you thought defined you is put to the test. When you lose your identity, you learn you are more than a name. When you lose your ideals, you discover who truly stands with you. When you lose control, you learn how to let go. And when you release it all, you're empty. Yet that's exactly when the light begins to pour in. Darkness is not the enemy. Darkness is the strictest, most honest, most profound teacher you will ever meet. It doesn't ask you to be happy. It only asks you to be real. No pretending, no striving, no running away. Just you bare, undefended, uncategorized. And right there your soul whispers welcome. Now we can truly begin. In the ancient art of alchemy, no awakening happens without calcination, the phase where everything is burned down to its roots. No gold of the soul arises unless the lead of your ego has first been melted in the deepest furnace. Your soul doesn't pick the easy path. Your soul demands radical transformation. And sometimes the only way to transform is to let every outer shell fall away, every attachment dissolve, every false lamp go dark, so that you find yourself in a night unbroken, not as punishment but as ignition. You are not abandoned. You are being summoned. Darkness isn't here to mislead you. It's here to stop you wandering in circles. If you're in that phase now, remember, your soul didn't choose darkness because it's comfortable. It chose darkness because only there can you no longer pretend to be anyone other than your true self. One thing we need to make absolutely clear: the dark night of the soul is not clinical depression. Yet on the surface they can look eerily similar. You feel directionless. Nothing seems meaningful. You're cut off from the world. You don't want to do anything and no one seems to understand you. You may even wish you'd vanish. Sound familiar? But the difference runs far deeper than symptoms. It lies in the very nature of what's happening within you. 1. Depression is a biological imbalance. It often stems from low serotonin genetics, chronic stress, or past trauma. You feel emotionally numb, lose all interest in life, and may need therapy or medication to rebalance. 2. The dark night is a sacred collapse. It originates in the deepest layers of your soul as a total restructuring of meaning, identity, and purpose. You're not shut down. Instead, you feel everything overwhelming waves of insight and pain you can't yet name. You're not paralyzed, you're dissolving, making space for something new to emerge. Depression wants you to survive. The dark night wants your old self to die so you can truly live. That distinction is subtle but powerful. A person in depression longs to return to who they once were. A soul in its dark night knows there's no going back and doesn't want to. When they overlap, sometimes they arrive hand in hand. You can be deep in a dark night and also clinically depressed. What does that mean? It means you deserve both compassionate care and spiritual honesty. If you need therapy, medication, or rest, do it. It doesn't make you weak or any less on a soul's journey. Your soul doesn't rank experiences as higher or lower. It simply calls you to be authentic right where you are. Don't mythologize your suffering, but don't rush to fix it either. Some wounds aren't meant to be bandaged. They need time to bleed out their truth. If you're in darkness and can't tell which path you're on, don't obsess over labels. Listen instead. What in you needs to be seen? What in you is falling apart? And is there a voice rising wordless beneath it all? Remember, depression can disconnect you from the world. The dark night disconnects you from your old self, so you can find your truest self. One invites treatment and healing. The other invites full acceptance and courageous passage. Only you can listen deeply enough to discern which is calling your name. Collapse and dissolution. In the inner alchemy journey, every transformation begins with a shattering. No light can emerge until the old structure has cracked, and the dark night of the soul begins exactly this way. Phase 1. Collapse. You've been living what you believed was the right life. Maybe you had a stable career, a clear spiritual path, a set life purpose mapped out. Then without warning, everything starts to crack. The pillars you once relied on lose their meaning. You no longer feel motivated. Nothing seems significant. You don't even want to carry on. Most people at this point scramble to fix things to get back to normal. But deep down you know there is no normal left to return to. This collapse isn't a sign of failure. It's your soul's wake-up call saying, let go of what's no longer true. Phase 2. Dissolution. Once the old structures have fallen away, you enter total dissolution. You don't know who you are anymore. There's nothing left to hold on to. This is the void, the space between the death of the old self and the emergence of the new. Many describe it as drifting in darkness, directionless, aimless, wordless. You might withdraw from relationships, stop all activity, and find yourself asking, who am I, if none of that remains? This phase is crucial, because here your ego fully unravels. You stop fighting. You stop explaining. You simply exist in silence, in emptiness, in absolute darkness. And it's in this void that the true alchemy begins. You may not see any light yet, but you'll start sensing a new inner space taking shape, not through thought, but through still presence. A fresh awareness dawns. No reasons needed, no goals required, just being fully here. The dark night isn't trying to save you. It's inviting you to die so your true soul can be born. Collapse is the first crucible. Dissolution is the final wash. And in those ashes, the seed of something new lies sleeping, waiting for the first spark to awaken it. Once your old structures have dissolved, you enter a phase where every sense of control, direction, and will simply plummets. Imagine you're leaping from a skyscraper. No handholds, no safety net, no way to slow your descent. No one below to catch you. That is exactly how this stage feels. Your mind panics and scrambles for stability. I have to change something. I need to heal right now. I should go back to how I was. But you can't. Every tool you once used to steer your life has lost its power. You realize there are no shortcuts. Your only option is to keep falling. And in that unending drop, you learn a crucial lesson. Control isn't your weapon. It's the chain that binds you. Letting go isn't defeat. It's the first step toward true freedom. Phase 4. Emptiness. After the free fall, there comes a moment when you simply stop struggling. Not because you've landed safely, but because there's nowhere left to fall. You arrive in a space where every thought, every emotion, even your prayers dissolve into silence. This isn't the comforting kind of quiet. It's absolute absence. No inner dialogue. No explanations. No guides pointing the way. No ideals to cling to. Many people fear this emptiness, convinced they've died inside. Yet if you can remain present here, a new awakening begins to stir beneath the stillness. In this phase, you realize you are not defined by the roles, stories, or past you once clung to. You are simply the awareness, breathing in this void. Sometimes you may feel nothing. No sadness, no joy, just emptiness. But if you don't recoil from it, you'll discover emptiness isn't lack. It's the space where what truly matters can emerge. It's the death of all noise. It's where your soul clears away every impurity before planting the seed of what's to come. Freefall and emptiness are not dead ends. They are the quietest, deepest points on this journey. If you don't run away, you'll hear the first whisper of your true self. At last we can begin. Phase 5, Communion. If you've plunged deep into the void and resisted every urge to patch it with quick fixes, something remarkable begins, an inner shift that doesn't come from outside, but from within. There's no sudden burst of light, no heavenly choir. Instead, you feel a subtle, almost fragile certainty. You are not alone. Not in a physical sense, but at a soul level. A quiet reconnection is happening between you and your own deeper self. It might show up as a vivid, symbol-laden dream that lingers long after you wake, a fleeting moment under an open sky when you feel gently held, a line of text, a chord in a song, or a glance from someone that brings tears without warning. That is your soul beginning to speak again, not in words or logic, but through a direct, wordless knowing, like a silent wave pulsing through your core. You may not understand anything new, but you sense you're on the right path, and that alone is enough. In this phase, a single drop of intuition can steady you even when your legs still tremble. Phase 6. Sowing the seed. From the scorched, purified ground of your former self, out of the ashes of who you once were, tiny seeds begin to take root. These aren't tidy new goals or life plans. They have no set shape or blueprint. What you notice instead are gentle stirrings. I want to write. I need silence. I can't live the way I used to. I feel called to help someone in the place I once stood. You're no longer hunting for purpose. You're living from the authentic impulses rising within you quietly, without fanfare or announcements. Every small step you take now stems from a new self emerging beneath the surface. You may not be ready to share this with anyone. You might not yet have words to describe what you're experiencing. But deep inside you know an old cycle has ended and a new one is beginning. This isn't a journey upward, it's a journey inward, into the depths of your true being. Through the very door the dark night opened, so you can reclaim the soul you once lost. Communion. Sowing. These are the first signs that you're no longer merely surviving the dark night. You're stepping out the other side. Phase 7. Awakening and integration. Once you've moved through dissolution, freefall, emptiness, communion, and the first stirrings of your soul, the next step isn't effort or searching. It's coming home. Many expect awakening to be a dazzling flash of light that sweeps all darkness away. In truth, real awakening arrives quietly. It carries no halo. It doesn't instantly transform the world around you. Instead, it transforms how you inhabit that world. You start to see life with new eyes, not judgmental or critical, not grasping or controlling, but the eyes of pure witnessing, unconditional love, and deep acceptance. You no longer need others to change for you to find peace. You carry that peace within you regardless of external circumstances. Awakening doesn't make you a better person. It makes you more real. No masks, no evasions, no unnecessary complications. You begin to recognize the beauty in simple moments. A single deep breath, a quiet morning, a genuine tear, an embrace given freely. No reasons required, no titles needed. Just full presence. As you reintegrate into daily life, you bring something rare. Not a brilliant light to flaunt, but a steady calm that spreads through your quiet presence. You become a keeper of the flame, a guide who's walked through fire and can help others step forward without fear. You don't try to fix anyone yet. Your very being creates a safe space for others to be themselves. Integration is the final phase, not to return to who you were, but to live this life with an awakened soul. You might keep the same job, live in the same city, but the way you breathe, love and choose silence will never be the same. If you've come this far, if you didn't give up in the darkest hours, if you sat with the emptiness and listened as your soul breathed, then congratulations. You've passed through the dark night, and you have become the very light you were seeking. If you find yourself in the dark night, if you're in that place where nothing brings you joy, where every light has gone out, where you feel invisible, worthless, and totally adrift, hear this. You are not lost. You're exactly where you need to be. Only the bravest souls dare to step into this darkness. Only the deepest hearts can hear its silent summons. And only those ready to shed their old skins are handed the key to true vision. You're not breaking, you're opening. You're not off course, you're being freed from a false map. You're not dying. You're shedding the parts of yourself that were never you. If no one understands you, so what? The dark night doesn't need an audience. This is a solitary journey, but not a lonely one. You stand at the same ancient threshold where every alchemist, every mystic, every awakened soul once trembled and yet pressed on. And do you know what waits on the other side? Not glory or blinding radiance, but a peace that wells up from your very core. A life no longer bound to old story, a light that can't be extinguished because it shines from within. The dark night isn't something you get through. It's something you move through so you can remember who you truly are. If you're in it now, please don't try to fix yourself. Don't try to go back to who you once were. You're not going back, you're coming home. And if you need to hear this, you will be okay. I say it not because I know you personally, but because I've been there too. And I know no night lasts forever. No pain is meaningless. No path is wrong when you walk it in truth. When you're ready, the light won't come from afar. It will ignite from within you. You were never lost. You were simply the light, learning to walk through the dark. If these words reach you now, let them be your call. It's time to remember who you really are, and to step forward as the soul you have always been. You don't need to understand it all. You just need the courage to keep going. If you've listened this far, maybe you don't need any more explanations, because deep down, you already know. Life isn't just a series of rolled. Your pain is never meaningless. Something inside you is waiting to be awakened, seen and returned to. I don't know your name. I don't know where you're sitting, what you've endured, or how many wounds you've carried. But here's what I do know. No one is lost when they face their own darkness honestly. You don't need to believe in any spiritual system. You don't need to be better, wiser, or higher. You only need the courage not to look away. The dark night cannot swallow you if you dare to look it in the eye. It cannot break you if you allow yourself to dissolve. It cannot pull you down if you refuse to chase a false light. Your soul has always known the way, even when you forgot, even when you wandered, even when you fell silent, even when you wanted to give up. Your soul still breathes inside you. No rush, no judgment, no despair, just patiently waiting for you to come home. And if something inside you just shivered, if your heart slowed for a moment right now, if these words feel like they're speaking directly to you, then don't doubt it. You're being called back, not to a place, but to your original unconditional state, where you simply are yourself with nothing to prove. So slow down, breathe deeply. Release any expectations that no longer serve you, and do one thing. Stay. Don't give up. Don't rush ahead. Just stay with yourself long enough to remember what you've always known. You don't need light to banish the darkness. You are the light, learning to live with the dark without being consumed. And when you're ready, the darkness will become your first companion on the path back to true radiance. I believe in you, and your soul has believed in you all along, before you were ready to believe in yourself.